Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. I'm back with a post-fight show here for this Saturday, August 22nd, 2020. And we're going to talk about today's fights, cover today's shows. And I got Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens on here with me. And we hope that the chat will be engaged to listen to what we have to say. And sorry about that glitch a little earlier. I had a couple of programs running at the same time, and it was supposed to be only one launch, so I apologize for that. Anybody that had to come back and start over with us, apologies. But it's funny because it's the first post-fight show I'm doing in a very long time, so trying to get my feet wet in the pool again. Want to welcome Reggie. How you doing, Reggie? How you doing, bro?
Doing good, bro. Doing real good, man. Can't wait for this one, man. Just finished watching Joe Smith knock out Editorial Alvarez, man.
Yeah, I wanted to go ahead and get this going. I didn't even remember that one was on. So is that on ESPN?
Yeah, it was on ESPN.
Well, you know what? Since that's the last one, right? Last fight of the night?
Yeah, that's the last of the night.
Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and open with that, and I'll let you kind of break the ice with that one. So bring it on in. Let us know what happened with this one. Editorial Alvarez and Joe Smith.
Man, he beat the complete shit out of Editorial Alvarez. Complete domination by this dude. And once again, was Editorial Alvarez doing the same BS he did in that Kovalev second fight, letting the fight come to him to try to find one singular punch. Joe Smith came out here with great offense, led the fight. Later, Alvarez buzzed the guy at one point, but he had later busted up. But by that fourth round, the later's bleeding out through the nose. Nose busted up. He scores a nice punch on Joe Smith, hurts him, but doesn't do anything with it. He allowed Joe Smith to recover. They continue on. That was about the seventh round. They continue on the eighth. Joe Smith got right back to beating the brakes out of this guy. Right at the close of the round, looked like he was going to end up getting a stoppage. They come into this ninth round. Joe Smith starts the round, hit this guy with a blazing jab. Hit him with a nice jab. That ends up hurting him. Alvarez kind of starts backing up towards the ropes. Then he lands a solid straight right. Hit him with a jab that pushed him back. Dude fell right through the damn rope, laid out on the canvas. Tony Weeks gives him the 8 count. The guy starts to try to crawl back through the rope to get himself up. 10 count is already there. That was all she wrote for this guy. It's sad to watch this guy rise so high and just fall from grace so quickly.
Well, all that says, Reggie, in honesty and sincerity, you know, you hear us old guys talk about it all the time. This is just more the same. A lot of these guys ain't built. They ain't built like the guys of old. And the way titles are being passed around and recreated and reconfigured, you're going to have a new face, every couple of months, man. That's the way it is. And they seem to not really understand that. They only seem to get offended when we say it. When guys like me get on here with my microphone, and some of us other OGs and guys like yourself, we get on here and we start telling the truth, they get mad. And instead of going in the gym and working harder, they go out there in the ring and get knocked out faster. So, hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But, yeah, it was a wonderful day of boxing, seeing that we hadn't had so much boxing in the past few months. We got a lot of it in one day. And why don't we go ahead and start off with what we were able to see out there in the UK with the Dillian White Povetkin card out there. I know I got the message that you were able to see. Were you able to watch the entire card?
What fight I watched? I watched the fight before that. Luther Clay versus Chris Congo. I watched that fight, and then Katie Taylor after that.
Yeah. Now that was an interesting fight with Clay and Congo, because they were fighting for contention for Crawford's WBO title. And I happened to be in the chat of another channel, and they even invited me to come on the panel and talk about things. And as I was leaving comments in the chat, I was speaking on how I had Congo winning the fight, and they were like, "Oh no, you're absolutely wrong, Stormy. This, Clay is winning. We got him winning hands down, and this and that." And it kind of took me almost back to a week ago when we had the report on, Rolly and Marinez, because, as I was watching the fight, Congo, who was a taller guy and had the reach advantage, they said that he was like a come forward fighter. But in this fight, of course, Clay was coming forward. But after let me see what I had, because I did score the fight. I scored the first round even. But after the first round, in the second round, Congo immediately established distance and started to make Clay run into his shots. So therefore, I was saying he had a edge in the fight competitively, and they were arguing with me, saying that that's not his fight, and he's usually the come forward guy. So we got, Clay winning and this and that. And I was like, but y'all can't see this guy running into shots. And I'm like, he getting beat up, man. And it just amazed me, because I was being sincere. I wasn't trying to be challenging. I wasn't even trying to. I had never seen either guy fight before. But as I'm sitting here looking at what I'm looking at, and I'm like, if Clay continues to fight like this and can't get on the inside to do damage or whatever, he's going to get beat up the rest of this fight. You know what I mean? And I was just being sincere. And boy, they didn't like me saying that, man. And as I was explaining something at one point during the match, then the match ended while I was explaining what I was saying. And it even certified what I was saying even more, how the match ended. So let me ask you, since you said you tuned in at that point, what were your thoughts about this fight with Congo and Clay? Chris Congo and Luther Clay?
Yeah, in this one, I didn't score it as I was moving around, but I was watching it, and I thought Clay was winning that fight. I thought Clay was backing him up. He was landing cleaner shots. Thought he was kind of more controlling the tempo, making it more uncomfortable for that taller fighter. I thought he was winning as well before that punch landed. And that punch in the fifth round that changed everything. Once that punch landed, everything twisted around for the guy. It turned out bad. Well, I thought I wrote that fight down, but it turned out real bad once that punch was landed, and then Congo just began to go to work. Congo just really started putting it on Clay and never really let up on him. But at one point, I think he did. I think it was in this knockout, or it might have been that final phase where he hurt him again in the round, where I thought the guy was going to be able to survive as Congo was getting off the work while he was hurt. This guy was able to survive. But what he did wrong was I didn't like to see what Clay was doing when he was hurt. And that's not really protecting himself. He didn't get his hands up. All he did is try to bounce up off the rope to stretch himself back to get out the way of punches. He just tried to roll. The way he reached out to grab was a poor technique. He didn't really grab the guy. Congo was able to just slither his way up off of it. This guy didn't really have an idea of what to do when he was hurt. Probably a new set of circumstances for him that he wasn't prepared for. He just didn't know what to do, but I just thought he was leaving himself open. He just trying to roll and avoid shots. He never put the hands up. And Congo was just letting his hands go, but not trying to set the punches up at that moment. He was just happy he had this guy hurt. Then from there, he just began to control. Clay showed a little bit of signs of being able to recover and return from that. But then when he went into, I think that was the 9th round, where he clipped the guy. He clipped him again, had him hurt. Once again, he's making these mistakes while he's hurt, just trying to lean off the ropes, bounce off the ropes, trying to roll, duck under shots, but still being hit cleanly with shots. When he go to try to grab, he ain't really doing a grab on the guy. Just very, very poor technique in that moment. And Weston-A just went to work, getting him up out of there. And I thought it was a great close by this guy. But I want to see Clay definitely in there, or in there possibly with another rising guy that is out there. But yeah, that's all I got on that one.
Now, see, it's interesting because you said you had him winning too. I saw it really the other way, only because of how Congo had decided to fight the fight. He stepped back and allowed a guy to run into his shots. He drew a line in the sand. And he said, when you cross this line, you're going to have to pay. And you're going to have to pay with shots. And he was catching him at the end of his punches, which is much more damaging than anything when you're at the end of someone's punches, where the full and final part of the snap is. And being the little guy, taking those shots on the way in, one thing, when your head gets snapped back or snapped to the left or right, what happens is over a period of time, that pain goes down the center of your back and your waist. You lose your legs. You get fatigued. And he was taking that very cleanly, even though he was strong early. I could see these things, and I'm like, I was not in the least bit surprised when he got stopped. But I had to give the fight, as I was scoring it, I had to give it to Congo because of the tactic he was using, and in that instance, ring generalship. Now, the irony was the 2 rounds before the stoppage I had given to Clay because he had finally got on the inside, but he was a little bit shot worn after he got there. And then the match was, the next round happened, and boom, things went south very quickly. But nonetheless, it was an exciting fight. A great fight for coming back to us tuning in again to some boxing from overseas and seeing guys, do their thing. I didn't like seeing Johnny Nelson, don't care for, because I just, that's my own personal thing there. But what a day. And we'll get into some more of the fights from that card in just a second. I just want to acknowledge our people who have decided to come back after the glitch. And we got Ramsey Sutton III who joined us. He says, peace to the chat, salute to the trill, hashtag LDBC, hashtag Bomb Squad, hashtag till this day. Tone Brown is out there. He says, Joe Smith Jr. knocked out Elita Alvarez. He put on a one-sided performance. Andrew Charles is out there. He's saluting. Stormybman. Bruce Gold says salute Stormybman and family. Who else we got here? We got Harold Jones out there. He says, bless up, King. Gravy Davy says, at Stormybman, salute and peace to the chat. And Mr. Shelton is out there. He's saying LDBC is lit. And Michael Johnson Boxing Talking More says, y'all see that werewolf get shot with that silver bullet. So yeah, but as we move forward on that card, Reggie, the rematch fight that took place between Katie Taylor and Persoon, you know, that first fight was really controversial after the decision was given to Taylor, in that everybody thought that Persoon had won that fight. I didn't catch that particular match, but I saw the highlight reels and whatnot, and even after seeing the highlights, it did really look like she was giving Taylor a hiding in that fight. Were you able to catch the first fight?
Yeah, in that first fight, I thought Persoon was Katie Taylor, because I never seen Katie Taylor. All I heard was all this great stuff about her. And when I turned to the fight, I see Persoon jabbing the shit out of her and busting her up, and Katie Taylor just trying to get out, trying to get this woman up off of her by moving out the way. And I'm like, before it took for them to say a name, I think they said a name like the following round or two, and I'm like, damn, this Katie Taylor is good. They said Persoon, I'm like, oh damn. And when that announcement came out, was like, boy, oh boy, here they go again.
Yeah, and in this fight, I noticed in the very first round, Reggie, catching it from the start, I say, oh, Katie is one of those fighters. Dude, she uses her head. By the second or third round, the woman Persoon's face was all busted up, and I'm like, that didn't come from punches, because she didn't really land that many punches. And then lo and behold, it told in the middle rounds when Katie ended up with a Hassan Rockman like knot on her head from a headbutt that she initiated. When she went back to the corner, looked like she had a small box of chiclets under the skin on her forehead. I was laughing, man. I said she looked like the female Hassan Rockman with that lump on her head. Remember when Rockman fought Holyfield and he had that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Dude, I had never seen a lump that big on somebody's head. When Rockman had that thing, it looked like somebody put a box under his skin. But Taylor had one too. They kind of smashed it down by the end of the fight with the Answell. But my goodness, she throw a 1-2 and the 3 would be the head. And Persoon was really busted up behind that, man. And she said after the fight, in the post fight, that her her diet wasn't good and she didn't feel as strong. And she said, you got to be strong to stay on top of Katie. And she said she was able to press her, but she said she didn't have any strength behind her pressing. So, but she still put up a pretty good fight. And at least this decision wasn't as bad as the first one. But see, all you need is those first ones, and a person don't get the victory that they're supposed to get, just like last week, and it really puts a black eye on the sport. Maybe even one of those forehead lumps on the sport. But I don't know, man. What were your final thoughts about how this fight ended?
I thought the scores on this shit was worse than the first one. I didn't see Katie Taylor doing shit. I think Katie Taylor couldn't adjust to the pressure this woman put on. The only thing that gave openings for Katie Taylor was the over aggressiveness of this lady. But she let her hands go.
Yeah.
When she chokes on the inside, she let her hands go, and Katie Taylor just wasn't busy. Katie Taylor had clean punches, I see Katie Taylor got a real clean style. Her stance, her balance is great. She has very solid punching. Her techniques are great. But to me, she just couldn't do nothing against this woman. And this is a woman with 46 fights. And I don't just, here we go with the favoritism in promotion. And when you get a machine that backs you, certain fighters get a higher praise. It's like, how's Katie Taylor with 15 fights being praised the way she is? And I'm like, looking at this lady, 46 damn fights. I don't see too many women fighting that much. So I gotta commend that. But it was her pressure. Her pressure was throughout this whole damn fight. My scorecard, I didn't give Katie Taylor nothing but the damn 12th round. And she possibly could have got the first round on my card. But I just thought Pursoon outworked her. She pressed Katie Taylor this whole damn fight and just outworked her to the punch. Even when she threw so many punches, she can miss a lot of them. Because Katie Taylor throw one punch, landed on her. This woman returned with like 3 or 4 punches. And it just wasn't enough on my side for Katie Taylor to win this fight. And especially her not being busy, she's just looking for openings. And she didn't look confident following the end of this fight. I couldn't, it pissed me off seeing the outcome of that fight. Because I'm like, damn, but second time this woman loses again. Like, what do you have to do to win a fight by decision in here? I was worried about the Sean Porter fight, too, with these judges. But that's all I got.
Yeah. Shot Times Finest says, that's right, Stormy. This was closer than the first, but I still had Pursoon winning. He says, Bruce goes, blessed everything, family. And he also said, truth, Reggie, she punches, but she throws the same combos. And afterwards, she doesn't know how to move. Talking about Katie. He says, Katie also keeps her head on the line after punches and moves straight back with her head up. Katie fights like she's doing fitness boxing. She throws good combos, and that's it. The same combos, the same way. Yeah, the other woman was really rugged and a good fighter, but it's obvious, and they made it very clear that all of the judges was from the UK. Excuse me. So that being said, Miss Pursoon didn't have a damn chance in hell. And that's a shame. I don't know those judges over there, and they weren't too adept at putting them on the screen and everything, Reggie, because I was looking to record them, but they weren't on that show. They weren't letting us know who those judges were. So, you know, we have to kind of keep our ears peeled out. We could probably pick it up.
I rewinded and found their names, man. Make sure I wrote that shit down.
What'd you say? I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
I was saying I went back and wrote those judges' names in that fight. I made sure I jotted that down.
Oh, you found them? Okay, that's cool. I missed it. I didn't get them. I didn't get their names, so I'll get that list from you. We got Drew Titan out there. He says, yo, what's good with you, Drew? And Tone Brown is saluting. Everybody else is saluting each other. Yeah, man. This thing about the judges, though, we do have to be vigilant on that, and we have to stay on top of that, because that's a new thing that we can do, you know, to try to keep the focus on things. Shout out to Retros for Life 79 Boxing. And every time you subscribe to the Stormybman channel while we on the air, you get to see this clip of Deontay Wilder working hard in the gym, punching on the heavy bag. So salute to Retros for the subscription. Thank you, and we hope that you enjoy being a part of the Stormybman family, where we bring this boxing talk to you on a regular basis, and no frills here, you know. So yeah, Reggie, we'll move right on into the main event, where we can now cook on what everybody want to make comments about and make their jokes, talk about the memes and everything else that will be for the fight between Dillian White and Alexander Povetkin. Before we get to the action that took place, just let us know what your thoughts were about this fight going in, Reggie, and then I'll give you mine. How did you see this fight going in?
Man, going into this one, I thought Dylan White was just going to destroy this guy. I'm like, because I wasn't going to even get the zone app. I was like, man, I ain't buying this shit just because I know Dylan White's going to go in here, beat on this old guy, crush him. And I'm like looking at Dylan White's training camp, the way he went into this camp. Looks like he put a lot of cardio. But then I'm like, when I seen Dylan at the weigh-in, I'm like, when he didn't want to touch the guy's gloves, this is playing all in my head from last night until to this morning is when I paid to get the app, because things begin to change. When I see Dylan not want to touch the guy's glove, I'm like, all right, that's probably going to rile and motivate this old man up. Then I'm thinking about, damn, something can happen. And then I'm like, Dylan White just looking past this dude. All this shit talking Dylan White does. It ain't about shit talking about what he's going to do to Povetkin. It's about Tyson Fury. It's about AJ. It's about Deontay Wilder. It's about the fans. And it's also the concern I have about Jamal Charlo with his disputes with his twin. But also, I'm just looking at it. This dude's focus. He's looking beyond this old man. And I'm like, you know what? Let me order this shit in case something happens. Because I'm telling you, I wasn't going to dare look at this damn fight. And, whoo, God damn, oh, man.
Hey, you know why I'm laughing, man? Because this is how I know. Remember I said a long time ago, this is something personal. I had a conversation with Reggie. I said, Reggie remind me of myself when I was younger. Didn't I tell you that? I did the same thing. I said, I'm gonna watch this fight. I couldn't stream it, so I said, I'm gonna purchase this fight. I'm gonna watch this fight, and I did it for the same reason that you said. I said, what if something happened and I miss it and I have to catch it on replay or whatever? I'm gonna be pissed off at myself because this was my thoughts of the fight going in. I had said that both of these guys, Povetkin more so because of his age now and everything, but White because he hasn't put the best of himself into his last 4 or 5 fights. He's come in woefully overweight and undertrained and stuff, but he's pulled some victories out and he's cheated as well. So it's like, I hope these two guys go in there and beat each other up. You know what I mean? And I was like, one of them going be victorious, but how it goes is going to be like how they present themselves. And I was like, the best thing for Povetkin to do would be to not open up with his good stuff early and try to go some rounds and catch White when he get fatigued, because White don't respond very well when he's fatigued. He don't know what to do. He don't know how to hold, clinch, tie up. He just falls apart when he gets tired. His hands drop, his body language is like, I quit, and all of that. So it's like, my thinking was, that's when Povetkin would get a chance to get him after he got fatigued or something. I said that White should try to do what Hunter did, which was jump on him early, because Hunter wasn't as strong and as big a guy, or maybe even have a heavier punch like a White might have. So that might be a strategy for him. Man, it was none of that. and the fight, the way it ended up going, was even more exciting than we could have hoped for, because we got the one thing that we had wanted to see, and that was Dillian White put to sleep. Put to sleep. I mean, blanket, snoring, wake-up call, everything. You saw it all within a matter of seconds. Matter of fact, when he went down, the referee jumped over there so fast, you would have thought the referee was his daddy or something, because he was trying to, save him or whatever. But he was finished. He fell like King Kong fell off the Empire State Building in that movie. That's how he fell, from that shot to the jaw. And what a shot it was. That 45, man. I hadn't seen such a lethal 45 hook uppercut since Razor Ruddock hit Michael Dokes with a similar shot back in, the days, back in the late 80s, man. It's like this dude was murdered. Dillian White, the guy that walked out the ring, was his clone or something. He finally got it, man. And people, oh man, you should have saw my news feeds, maybe yours too. They were lighting up, people making all these comments and stuff. Oh, going live, Dillian White, you're going live. Povetkin sleeps white. It's like news feed just blowing up. I was having a good time just laughing about it. But I remember when the shot landed, I was like, I jumped up out of my chair almost. I was like, oh, he was done. So Reggie, when I was watching your broadcast, when you was calling it, because you was a few seconds behind me, and you was like, oh, damn. I was having a good time watching you too.
Hey, man, I get so amped up watching these goddamn fights, but that shit right there, god damn, that energized the hell out of me. And it was perfect, man, to be honest, because I'm doing calling people's comments, and when he hit him, I thought it was a punch that hit him, but I thought maybe he stumbled back. But the way both legs planted, like something held the back of his heels in the canvas, and he fell flat forward. I said, "Oh my fucking god!" But then the setup behind that punch was so impressive to me. That was so impressive with the way that Povetkin did it.
He set him up, man. He shot that shot, and White moved over this way, and he slipped over and came. Dude, that was something that the young Mike Tyson used to do to people too. And, you know, that was part of how he fought, because with the peekaboo style. And I know that when Povetkin was younger, he would try to fight similar to what Mike Tyson would do, but he couldn't do it as good as Mike. But in that instance, he definitely had what he was setting White up with insights. And man, he got all chin. I mean, if you could imagine just, you know, all of this is just exposed to a power puncher like Povetkin, man. Dude, that guy, when White got hit, he immediately short-circuited. You could see it. And his body fell stiff. It was like he was a corpse. He rigor mortis. You know, he just fell, and he was like, there was no life in him. I thought, you know, like when Thanos do the snap and people turn to dust, I thought he was going to turn to dust like Dominique Brazil did in that meme that people made when Wilder knocked him out. Woo!
Yeah, man, it was, oh my god. But you know what's so impressive? What I was impressed by is Povetkin's willingness to always rise up. You knock that old man down, he gets up right back to his feet.
And what do I always say about that? I always say, it don't matter. The guy get knocked down. What matters is what happens when he gets up, right? Everybody talking about, oh, Bud got dropped by Kavaliauskas. Well, what happened to Kavaliauskas, though? Seriously. Yeah? It was a flash knockdown to begin with. It wasn't like he went on his back and he was stiff and struggled to get up and everything. He slipped down to his knee, took shot, went down to his knee, he got up. He was like, damn, okay, I got to go get him now. And when Kavaliauskas went down, he got up with the expression on his face like, oh shit, I done woke up this sleeping giant. And from that point on, it was murder was the case, huh? And Crawford was all on him, taking him apart and taking him out. Where was Kavaliauskas' resurrection, getting up, fighting back, turning the tide? Oh, he checked out, huh? He didn't get the full script. But when this guy Povetkin went down, just like he did against Hunter, he got up and kept fighting. That, you know what that is? That's that intestinal fortitude that we talk about. You guys call us the OGs. Kurt Anderson talks about it all the time. Salute to Kurt in the chat. I see you out there, Kurt. And it's like, you know, when a man gets down, that's when the fight starts. It don't start just because a guy is up 5 or 6 rounds or whatever, and the dude got to try to come back and get lucky and land a punch. No, the fight starts when somebody gets shook up, okay, or knocked down, or put on the edge of losing, and then they have to turn things around. They have to change their mindset. They have to change their game plan. They have to change the way that they're looking at the opponent across from them and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to let you do that to me. Take this. And they come back. So salute to Alexander Povetkin for showing these young bloods how to do it. You know? Everybody talking about, oh, he old and this and that. Hey, the last thing to go on the old dude is a punch. And Dillian White must have forgot that lesson too in the gym because he let the guy get close to him. Huh? He's the taller guy, got the longer reach. He got the arm length of like a primal being. Huh? So it's like if he would establish that line in the sand, like I said earlier about Congo against Clay, and kept that dude on the outside. But no, he was trying to exchange them hooks with him and everything. And he was successful. He landed his. But guess what? Povetkin got up. Povetkin wasn't like those other guys. Huh? Povetkin had more. And Povetkin was like, okay, let me get close enough to him to hit him with a really good one and see how he responds. Well, he didn't respond. He had first responders, though. That's what it was. They had first responders right there. Medic! You know, and they was in there on him, making sure he didn't choke on his mouthpiece and stuff like that. But it was a beautiful thing to see Dillian White knocked out, man. Knocked out. And, how many days will it be? That's all I wanted to see, man. And I'm glad that I spent a few dollars to get entertained. As Maximus said in Gladiator, are you not entertained? You damn sure bet I was. I was entertained. I'm still enjoying it. I still got goosebumps. Yeah. I was like, man, that was a beautiful knockout. It couldn't have happened to a worse dude. Give us some more on it, Reggie. Come on, man. Because you sounded real excited. You sounded real excited on your broadcast.
Oh, man, too excited, man. But the intestinal fortitude of this damn dude is what like so brilliant. Like what I be, man, this is what I be saying about them dudes who come from these other countries is the fact that these dudes getting here with that intestinal fortitude is some real shit with a lot of these dudes who come out. And this is why they try to hype up those European dudes, because these dudes are cats. You think you doing some shit, you put them on the ground, they get right back up on your ass. If the lights ain't out, them motherfuckers still coming at you wounded ducks out there, and they gonna give you all. But the thing I seen with this cat is like how you come out of round. That's a round that most people would have just counted a dude out to see a guy get dropped twice in a round. Then you come back in that round. But the thing I seen this cat doing that was perfect from what's his dude Povetkin, was he was setting Dillian White up the whole fight with the same little combination. And it showed me that Dillian White ain't got the IQ to think and shit in that ring. Is this dude, he'll throw that right hook. He'll throw that right hook, come over towards the head area of Dillian White. If Dillian White ducks up under it, that left hook right there to the body. He kept doing that shit throughout the fight. He'll repeat it. Dillian White kept falling for the same shit. So when I see him step to the side, he threw that jab, step to the side, I thought that left hook was going to the body. And I think that's where he was thinking to throw it. And the minute he seen that, he just knew something was coming out here. His veteran experience let him know what to do at that moment. And he knew he had to come back after what happened in that round before it. And he hit right on that damn chin. When he hit that chin, man, Dillian White was out immediately. That motherfucker hit the emergency shutoff switch on Dillian's ass. And man, that shit. hey, I ain't never been more proud of a motherfucker who I ain't give a shit about in Povetkin. Ain't never fought Povetkin. That motherfucker instantly became one of my favorite fighters of all time because Dillian White deserves this fucking shit. This motherfucker, him and Eddie talked this 600, 1,000 day shit. And now they get to sit their ass back 100,000. They took their asses back 100,000 days. Like, man, and this shit was just, and crazy shit. It happened on his property. That motherfucker cursed Dillian White, put it on that damn plantation and shit. That's what the fuck this fool get. You look through people, you discount people, other people show up and they max your ass. And especially a dude like this. Coming out, this old man got something to live for. He has a hunger about him. And it's the same thing why you see these older fighters trying to come back, because they see something lacking in these younger fighters. And that's dedication to the sport, working out to the sport. And this veteran dude, that's all it was veteran experience that carried Povetkin through this fight. He took some of Dillian's best fucking shots. Took him right on the chin and got his ass right the fuck back. You would have to kill this motherfucker Povetkin. You got to kill a lot of them dudes that come from that region of the world that dude is from. Them some resilient motherfuckers. And we need more of that shit here in America.
For those of y'all that didn't see the knockout, I got it here on the screen courtesy of Twitter, because somebody put it up on Twitter right away after it happened. So I prepared the show by getting that clip and putting it, getting it here so we can all enjoy it to no end. Just look at it roll over and over again as Dillian White takes all of it. A buddy of mine used to always say, take it all. And that's what he did. He took it all. And Povetkin wasn't even like running around celebrating or nothing. He just raised his fist up in the air like, I got him. Beautiful, man.
He felt that shit. He felt that shit through his fists. It's like, oh yeah, this motherfucker gone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step to the side real quick. He gone.
I'm telling you, that's one of them Mike Tyson moves, man. Because Tyson was one of the first ones to do that like that. Well, Floyd Patterson did it too, because Floyd was trained by Cus D'Amato. And I heard Kurt say in the chat earlier, read him, he said that Joe Frazier and Rocky Marciano, because they were short men, looked to set people up with the uppercut. But I tell you something, the way Povetkin moved, he moved like he was moving in on a jab and gonna hook to the body. But he didn't hook to the body, he uppercut, he threw that 45. And White never saw it. He got all chin massage up in that. It was beautiful. It was an excellent shot, and I'm gonna tell you, he could have did the same thing to AJ had he been a little bit more patient and let AJ open himself up. But hey, man, that right there, that was the knockout of the day, and it was what you just said, Reggie, that some of these guys that's thinking about coming back, and some of them who are still hanging around, this is why they're hanging around, like you said, because they see something in a lot of these guys today that they just don't have it, bro. They don't have it. And these men, they still got it as far as inside of themselves, but their ages and their physical gifts may be, worn, through the ravages of time and age and stuff like that, erosion, but that spirit is still there,
Yeah, absolutely. And they teaching, man. And these young fighters got to start realizing this hard work needs to go out. And I can't wait till we talk about Sean Porter, because Sean Porter got an old soul, old spirit to him. And that motherfucker's so super dedicated. And I love what went into this fight, being that he went into a fight with a lesser known opponent, but in training camp, he took this guy as if he was fighting a world champion, and it showed tonight in this ring. And Man, hats off for Povetkin, man. My favorite fighter right now. That motherfucker shook the goddamn world up, man. And this is why you don't take nothing lightly in this game of boxing, because one punch changes everything. And then to watch how he clowned with what happened to Wilder, watch how he clowned what happened to AJ, and he ends up getting the worst bit of karma. Ain't nobody been knocked out like this in the heavyweight division since maybe Dominic Brazil. But this is the worst shit that ever happened to Dillian White. And it's all what Dillian White gets based on not following the protocols of what's been ordered to him, avoiding fighters, putting fighters on the shelf, calling people old, not getting in there with Luis Ortiz. Now you get it knocked out by somebody you try to claim as being old, and another old man comes in here and embarrass you. He's already embarrassed by a old man in the last fight. You come in here and get knocked out by an old man who ain't even in his prime. He's just more experienced, more seasoned, and he dusted this dude off. And then you're talking about a rematch. I don't think Dillian White know where he's at. I don't think he knows where he's at. I think he heard the word called rematch and just said that shit to Eddie Hearn. But I don't even think he know what rematch means because his brain's so fucking shook. But he don't want that work. He don't want to get back in here with this dude, Povetkin. And I say this because Dillian White needs to spend a little bit more time in training. And the other reason why I was thinking about ordering this fight was the fact that Dillian White then did some real suspect shit, changing this whole coaching team. First of all, it's what they did in that last fight against, not the last fight, but when he did in that fight when he tested positive against damn, I can't think of that guy from Colombia. But when he treated that dude is the fact that his coach didn't know nothing about the failed test, them having a hearing that morning. He hid all this shit from the coach. Coach doesn't find this out till they going into the fight. I think coach probably found out when the rest of the public did. So you keeping your coach out the loop, you're hiding shit, then you drop this coach who's kept you undefeated for quite a bit of time. You leave him, go to another country, you find a new coach. Then in the last week or so, he brings this new dude onto the team. So it's like, what's going on with this dude? What's going on? This dude's been half-assed in training to drop that weight off. He's been doing some shit. He's been using some shit. And then when he comes into this fight, he looks lethargic because he didn't have to dump this shit out of his body, and he didn't put on all this weight because down in Portugal, Dillian White was way slimmer. I was surprised to see him coming in here at the 250. When he was in this fight, you begin to see Dillian White gassing in this shit. Then Povetkin hit him with a nice-ass body shot that caused Dillian White to start gassing for air. Even when Dillian White dropped this dude, Dillian White was over in that corner trying to catch his breath. He was sucking up for air, trying to recover. This dude needs to start taking his time. He don't need to go on a rematch. He needs to take his time, work his way up, step down the lower tier, fight some of these other fighters to work and see where the hell he's at. But he needs to commit to the damn boxing gym. He needs a real solid trainer in there with him. He needs to focus, lock away, stop talking so much shit about people, and try to get himself back in the hunt. I ain't gonna count the dude out. I can't count him out because it's a heavyweight division. He can change anything, but he needs to work on a lot of shit. His weight control is going to be the thing he has to.
You can't count him out because Povetkin put him out. There was no count. They just waved it off. So you can't count him out. That's for damn sure. But I wanted to say something about what you said. Now, the thing about PEDs, let me remind everybody out there listening in the chat and people that's not even participating in the chat. PEDs don't help your chin. Okay? Now, look at this clip right here and tell me how much more PEDs White would need to stop that from happening to him. And I'll tell you that it ain't no amount. Okay? That's what I was trying to say early on when people was like, yeah, but it'll make you stronger and give you more stamina. It don't mean nothing when you get hit on the chin. It really don't. You know, if anything, you might want to get measured up for a coffin because your heart might stop or something when you get anesthetized like that. Because listen, man, did you see how quick them people was over there on him? Kudos to those folks, man, because sometimes in America, they kind of slow getting in there to save you, okay? But they was quick and fast over there on Dillian White. He was back up on his feet in about 5 minutes. But had it been in America, they just probably would have called the folks and put him on one of them stretchers and wheeled him out into an ambulance or something. But he was able to walk out presumed under his own recognizance and everything. But that's yet to be proven.
God damn, man. Oh, man, I can't get over this shit, man.
Yeah.
And you know what else makes me happy? Is I almost missed this shit. I almost missed this fight, man.
Right.
If I didn't have that feeling, intuition, I would have missed this shit.
Reggie,
and I'm glad I did not.
I had the same feeling, bro. I had the same feeling. I saw that I wasn't gonna be able to stream it, and something in me said, "Go ahead and check this thing out, man, because you never know." And bingo, that it was, it just sometimes intuition will kick in. Sometimes, you could be wrong or whatever. But man, I was glad to have seen it. I saw that punch land and that dude went stiff as a board. I was like, "Whoa, oh!" And that was my reaction. But when I heard your reaction, because like I said, you was a few seconds behind me, maybe about 30 or 40 seconds behind me, and I was laughing. I was cracking up. I was like, "Yeah, I want to see what he say." And you was like, "Oh damn!" It's like.
That shit caught me off guard, but that shit caught me because I was just saying, what's the name? Povetkin needs to clean up when he's going on offense. He needs to be mindful of cleaning up. He needs to be ready for those lefts that Dillian White is throwing. As I'm saying that shit, that motherfucker did that jab, slipped over, buyout. I said, and it wasn't just the fact that it was a knockout. It was the fact that it was that knockout. It was that type of knockout. He put a motherfucking, I don't know what to say. He put some sweetness on that shit. That shit was so fucking immaculate. I said, God damn, they need to, that punch right there, that whole 2-punch setup needs to be fucking archived in the Smithsonian. They need to frame that shit. That shit, god damn, man. Just looking at it as you play it just shows the beauty of that shit. And it hit right up on that damn chin. It hit that chin so perfect it lifted him.
It lifted him up off the canvas. It sure did. Shout out to D-Style Boxing, Alex Santos, and G Funky. Glad to see you guys out there, man. J8. Hey, we just enjoying this post-fight show, man. You guys can chime in if you want to talk about Dillian White. But I'm going to tell you something, man. This was good stuff. To be able to see this guy get his, always looking to avoid somebody, always, I want my title shot. He wanted a title shot without having earned it, huh? Well, this is what happens when you face quality opposition. Yeah, the man was 41 years old, but he was still a quality fighter. He was a quality fighter, and he was out there fighting. And you saw the end result. He could still knock people the hell out. That was great stuff, man. And I was hoping they'd go in there and beat each other up just for our entertainment, I wasn't expecting this. We got a knockdown, drag out. And what we say about these guys going down on the canvas, getting back up, fighting. Povetkin went down twice and got up and knocked him the hell out. Okay? That's one for the record books right there. He went down twice and got up and knocked the other dude out. Huh? The next round. Huh? The next round. We could put that up there with Foreman and Lyle and Mora and Cooper. You know what I mean? Knockdown, dragouts. Except for Dillian didn't get up.
Man, oh goddamn, man. I'm gonna be riding on this shit for a long time, man. For a long time. And I can't wait to hear Dillian White's first statement when he decides to come back and speak.
The only thing I'm mad at Dillian White was he fell outside the ring apron. Half his body was in and half his body was on the other side of the ropes. I wanted him to be like totally inside the ropes where you could see him snoring and with his eyes open. and you know, that kind of stuff with more dramatic effect. But you can't have everything that you want. But I got most of what I want. 98.9% of what I wanted, and that was him body bagged, and we got it.
Yeah, we got that shit.
Toe tag is somebody said earlier in the chat. I think that was what's that PGH Big Dog. He said he had everything but the toe tag. But yeah, that was, hey man, listen. When you tune into a fight, that's kind of like what you hope for, stuff like that, action like that, and the guy you really despise to end up like that, you know. That's you can't ask for better, really. The only thing, you maybe on his way back to the dressing room, because you know they had to walk outside in the outdoors, maybe if it rained on him or something on his way back to the dressing room. That is storm, you know, it's rain on him. But yeah, that was good stuff, man. It's like one of those things, and I can't stress it enough. When it happened, right? My news feed just blew up, man. Everybody I'm sub to was making videos, and you know, that was like, you know how people put like on their channel when they do a video upload or something, they say breaking news or something, right? That's how that was. The whole news feed just blew up, like, you know, everybody was making a video. I just sat back and was looking and listening. I was jumping from channel to channel. I had a good time, man. This is officially, you know, August 22nd, 2020. That's Dillian White Day, bro. Dillian White Day.
Yeah, a boxing holiday. Shit.
The Lycan, they got his ass. What'd he say? Oh, they got him.
Hey, I know you heard Eddie Hearn ass. That motherfucker say he thought he was dreaming.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn couldn't believe that shit.
Eddie Hearn. He broke out. He broke out with that Christopher Williams. Oh, don't wake me, I'm dreaming. Oh, man. That's good stuff, though, you know. Thank you, Ed Hearn, for bringing boxing back and bringing Dillian on his back. That's what we can say. Oh, man. This is something else, man. This is something. Just to be able to enjoy, you know, it couldn't have happened to a worse guy. That's what I'm saying, you know. May he forever. Do you think he'll be humbled? I don't think he'll be humbled. It needs to happen to him at least one more time, you know, for him to be humbled. You know? Man,
the way the internet is on up on his ass about to go into a shelter, man. He ain't about to show his face for shit. Believe that shit. His boyfriend ain't gonna show his face. Ain't none of them showing their face, man. I'm laughing my ass off, man, because I wanted to see Eddie. They wouldn't even show Eddie Hearn. They wouldn't even show Eddie Hearn's face during this shit. And then to hear Eddie Hearn speak, Eddie Hearn was really in the dream. I think this shit really affected Eddie Hearn, man. That shit affected Eddie Hearn bad. And it happened in his fucking backyard, like G-Folk said. This motherfucker bring a motherfucker to his house and get knocked the fuck out.
Hey, and shame on DAZN for not showing the camera on Anthony Joshua to see his reaction. Shame on them for missing that moment.
Yeah, they missed it, man. They missed the highlight marks of this damn fight. They should have had the cameras on those significant people, like you said.
Yeah. Listen, and you say that was Eddie Hearn's house, right? Where they had the event in his backyard or something?
Yeah, that was in his backyard.
Listen, man. More reason to hate that dude. You living in a palatial estate like that, and there's people out here starving and everything, man, when he gonna get knocked out? That's what I want to know. Somebody knock him out. But yeah, that was. Go ahead.
White may have to get his money. White may have to get his money up out of Eddie Hearn ass. They may have to get in there and fight because Eddie Hearn done fucked everything off of this dude. Everything is gone for Dylan White. He got to crawl his way back up, man. He got to crawl his way all the way back, and he can't take none of these soft touches. The next fight people gonna want is he got to get in there with Luis Ortiz. He has to. Or he got to get in there with Dominic Brazil. Ain't no more ducking and dodging for Dylan White to climb his way back up. But like I say, you got to take at least one or two tune-ups, how Tyson Fury likes to do it, but along with going through a serious camp. After he heals up, they clear him, he need to get right back in the gym immediately.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be able to leapfrog everybody that's in the top 10 and fight for a title or something when he ain't fought a person in the top 10. Now, Povetkin is in the top 10. I think he's like in the lower portion of it. I'm not looking at the rankings right now, so I don't know exactly what he's ranked. But I know he should be at least in the top 10 out of the guys that's out there today. But, you can't even handle Povetkin, bro. And I know he damn sure couldn't handle Luis Ortiz. So, you get what you get, as they say. You get what you get. But let's move on to the PBC broadcast, Reggie. And they opened up with that fight with Fundora and Gallimore. Were you able to check that one out?
Oh, yeah. He bullied the shit out of Gallimore, man.
Man, that guy, he's so tall at the weight and so thin and reedy, but he appears to be heavy-handed, It really appears that he's got some pop on his punches to be such a tall and lanky guy. And he wants to always get in close on people. So they say they trying to teach him how to box from distance, but he just likes going in there, and hitting and pounding on people. My thoughts about him are he doesn't mind defense at all. So it's like a more experienced fighter would be looking to counter and catch him. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things that you kind of look at and be like, But he beat the crap out of Gallimore. And Gallimore, I don't remember him looking that bad before. But once I saw his haircut, I was like, you know what? Why would you come in there looking like that? What was that red ball on the back of his head and the thing that was going on like a swirl at the top? You know what? Until you can focus on fighting properly and stuff like that, forget about the hairstyles and stuff, man. Just pick out your fro or comb your hair or brush your head. That's it, All that other stuff, man. You doing all of that and you ain't got time to really train and look out after yourself and you get beat up like that. But that, I don't know. And I had a guy, he used to always say, man, when somebody come in the ring with a messed up dude, he's like, that dude gonna lose because he got a bad haircut. This guy used to say that all the time. Anyway, Gallimore got the bejabbas beat out of him. I mean, then he left with an ankle injury or something, Reggie.
Yeah, they had to cart his ass out. But hey, his ankle was hurt and his whole damn body, his head and body was fucked up.
Yeah.
Because they had to strap him in on that shit. He went in there for evaluation.
Yeah, he was like, my back, my head, my neck. He was my neck and my back. He was, that dude was beat up, man. And that big guy was pounding on him. I told you he's heavy-handed. He was 6'6". He probably hits, what was that, 154? He probably hits like a light heavyweight, man. You know what I mean? So that's what he was doing. He was pounding that guy into submission. And that was good stuff, too. Watching somebody else get brutalized on a day like today, after seeing, Dillian White, you want an encore, It's like, give me more, Now that next fight, huh?
Hey, wait, OG, you know what's funny? Is that when you brought up about the hairdo, that's the same shit I was thinking when I seen Gallimore with that hairdo. I said, man, Ferndale, please fuck this motherfucker up. Because
Yeah,
I'm like, I
man.
can't stand to see that stupid looking shit. You go thinking that shit looks good. You know how people want to dress good so they feel good, they do good. That's what the fuck he thought he was doing with this haircut. I'm like, man, please, Ferdona, knock this motherfucker out. But I don't like that Ferduna fights on the inside. I thought Gallimore was going to probably land something lucky. Ferduna was like, this motherfucker ain't got shit. But I'm glad he whooped his ass. Maybe he'll go get that shit cut off his head.
Exactly.
Hopefully the doctor cut it off while at the hospital.
Exactly, man. That's like when somebody leave the house with some fucked up attire on, and you look at them and you say, man, do you live alone? And they be like, no, I got, my family, my wife, girlfriend, or, brothers and sisters, whatever, right? It's like, well, they don't love you because they let you walk out the house looking like that. So we know that Gallimore ain't got nobody that love him. Because if he walked out the house to that arena looking like that, they don't love him, man. They don't love him. So, you always need somebody in your corner at some point when you're doing fucked up shit to say, hey, man, don't do that, right? Whether it's a loved one or whatever, somebody should be there to pump the brakes. And with him, he didn't have nobody to pump the brakes, and so he got pumped full of punches in the ring. It's like that's it, man. That's it. Yeah, ain't nobody love you letting you leave out like that with the little red puff in the back of your head and shit like that. What is that, bro? No way, Jose. No, sir. But yeah, man, those were the kind of things that I was laughing about. And I just, you know what? It's like when you watch these things happen, man, you just kind of like wish that people would tune in to see it. And I'm talking about the knockout, of Dillian White again here when I say this. Like you want everybody to remember where they were when it happened and shit. It's like, what was you doing that night? Oh, I was, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. Cause we gotta celebrate, the liking being taken out. Renee Box Young is in the chat. He says White went down. He said White went down. White went down. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So the next fight on that card, Reggie, for PBC was Joey Spencer and that dude Sean West. That was not a competitive fight again. They keep putting this kid in there with guys that don't belong in the ring with him, trying to showcase him. And it seems like, they want to market him as a national treasure or something like that. But I don't think this kid is, I don't think very much of him. What do you think of him, Spencer?
I like the kid. I just don't like what the hell they doing. And this is once again playing into that white privilege shit. I thought he was always a mixed kid. I didn't even really look at him as being a white kid, but that's once again what they doing. They're trying to find a kid who has this look that they like. The same thing they trying to do with the other white kid, Milanicki, who just let these white fighters be good fighters. Let them work their damn way up the same way the more talented black fighters have to do. Now, here you go, Dylan, and this is a media fault, so that's why I don't want to take it out on Spencer, because I do like Spencer as a fighter. And as a person, this kid is a great kid, but when you're dealing with the media network and this white propping, forceful pushing of talent that just isn't fully developed on people is BS. But the one thing I was glad is to see, they have to step him back down to 6-round fights. They're moving this kid along way too fast. And he thinking his last fight, he got that real controversial decision. I think that's the fight I was at for that Charlo versus Cota fight, which he really lost that fight. He got lucky to get the decision in there. I think he had one other fight that was like that. So they finally stepped him down to these 6-rounders. And he had moments in this fight where this guy was touching him with shots that he shouldn't have been touched with. So he got a lot of things he needs to be cleaned up. And fighting tonight at 160 ain't where this kid needs to be at, not at all. Especially being that he can still get hit with punches. He likes to mark over one-punch shots. He'll hit with a nice shot, look at it, not continue on, not press the action. That can turn out bad against upper-level cats. But he's still in the development phase. They need to keep it as that. But I already see what they're doing. They're trying to make him into a star just based on him having a look, wanting him to have a representation for so-called white media. But they push it, and it doesn't work. It never works when you do this kind of overhyping of an athlete because they're white. It don't work. That formula ain't never worked. It don't. They got to put in the work. Let them put in the great work that gets them there. Don't hype them up there. But that's all I got on this one.
Yeah. And the thing about these kind of guys like that, remember this one little tidbit. If the kid has any type of talent, they will put him with a respected trainer so they can maximize the talent he may have and also give him as much background and teaching as they could get for him. So, again, they failed. Okay, because this guy, he doesn't look like much to me. He just looks like the type of prototype or image of a fighter that they want to put out there. Just like that kid, Mike Conlon. You know, they keep throwing him out there. And it's like, really? With all of these, you know, ravenous creatures out here, you're going to actually put him out there with barbecue sauce on him? Okay. Watch what happens. And you can only stay away from the real competition for so long. But this kid, Spencer, doesn't have, you know, the quality training that he needs to see if they can even determine whether he has talent or not. Fighting these guys that he's fighting, he's barely beating them. And there you go. You just said it yourself. The guy was getting hit a little bit by this guy he was fighting tonight. And that guy was supposed to be nobody. So I'm not into giving these guys credit and stuff like that. Like you said, also they dropped him back down to 6-round fights and stuff like that. It's like, dude, what direction are you really headed in, huh? And I'm gonna tell you, there's always somebody out there. They're gonna bring a guy in, and the guy's supposed to be opponent, and he ain't gonna realize he's supposed to be opponent. He gonna go in there thinking that he got the, he got the power, so to speak, and go in there and be all on side of that dude's head and get him out of there. I'm telling you, I could see it happening. Seen it happen too many other times. IGM Tim is in the chat. He says, salute Uncle Stormy. I'm IGM in the house. Salute to you. Derek Bailey is out there as well. Boxing and Barbecue says, Stormy B, man, I'm trying to concentrate doing some woodworking, and you keep distracting me, messing me up, laughing. Yeah, man. We always like to laugh and have fun when we have a day like today in boxing, man. I always clown a little bit extra when it come down to that stuff. We all been wanting Dillian White to get it. We just didn't know it was going to happen with a single punch to the chin and that he would fall stiff like a cadaver with rigor mortis sat in and that he would be ready for the morgue. You know, we didn't know all of those things. But I think if you go to his Instagram, they may have some information up where you could send flowers and, stuff like that, It's good to see the liking get his, man. He was on the canvas for 600 days. Yep. I can't help it, man. Can't help it. Even somebody said when he was laying on the canvas, he looked like he had been smoking crack. Don't mind me, Reggie. I'm just having a good time at Dillian White's expense, man.
I'm back here rolling.
Man, couldn't have happened to a worse dude, man. I'm telling you. Couldn't happen to a worse dude. All right, let's get to the real meat and potatoes of the evening with Sean Porter against this Formella dude. And I never heard of this guy. And D-Style had him on there, some clips and showing, so, he looked like he was backing people up and throwing good combinations and everything. And I had added, after watching those clips, I was like, but that ain't Sean Porter. So in this fight, he came out in the first round. Sean took it easy. I guess the guy came out and he looked good in that first round. But after that, they turned the pressure up on him, man. And that was it. That dude, Formella, I think he ain't trying to come back to America anytime soon after tonight. Sean Porter beat the bejabbers out of that guy, man. He started pressing him. He was dancing in and out. He was putting combinations on him. He was going upside that dude's head. And as I've often said about Sean Porter, if Sean Porter had a punch, he'd be the most dangerous guy at that weight division and possibly in boxing. Because the little dude, he be in damn good condition. He can go 12 rounds easy. And he know how to press people. He know how to be on top of you. He's like a wave that keep coming. And now he can box a little bit too. I don't like how he throws his right hand. He loops it too much. He needs to throw it a little straighter. But can't complain that Sean Porter can fight, man. And his competitive fight against Earl Spence that showed that he belonged, it has done nothing but made him even more confident. And it showed and reflected in this fight tonight. What were your thoughts on this fight, Reggie, with Porter and Formella?
Oh, man, I got to start off by giving major props to Porter, man. Like I said in my stream tonight, I'm one of the guys, I ain't never got on knocking Porter. I ain't never viewed Porter as being a football player, being this and that. That motherfucker is a true-to-life warrior. If anybody lives a fighter lifestyle amongst this new breed of fighters, it's Sean Porter. It's Sean Porter, definitely. The way he acts. The way he carries himself, his behavior, his mentality is that of a warrior. A warrior knows how to turn it on, turn it off. You don't got to be rah, foolishly acting. This dude is like what you call a fucking gentleman and shit. A nice dude. And under that is a straight up goddamn killer. In that ring, that dude is vicious as I don't know what. And this dude, like I said, has the best resume. Matter of fact, Sean Porter's resume may be better than any fighter that currently fights today. So he has to be respected. That's the other thing that bothers me when people try to knock him. This dude's resume is second to no one in this current age of boxing, period. Then going into looking at this fight, this is a fight against a lesser known opponent, a lower tier opponent. Many fighters of today, and probably other eras as well, would have went into camp slacking off. They would have half-assed their way going into a fight like this, not taking the guy serious, maybe taking off days doing road work, taking off days being in the gym. Sean Porter didn't do that shit. And you can tell just looking at Sean Porter. Dude was chiseled like a motherfucker going into this fight. Everything came in here. He added some new ripples, so it shows he went into this gym. Him and his father worked on some things. The jabs were much better. The combination work was much better. The footwork, and that was everything. That's always the major gift. Is get up under shots. His delivery of punches. He's solid. He's doing less. He's finding his range on when throwing these punches, because before he'll smother a lot of his punches. Too far on the inside, smothering stuff. These last few fights, he's been doing great work. I think from the you guys is where I began to start seeing him develop some things, working on boxing, fight on the inside. because it carried him over when he went to Earl Spence. He gave Earl Spence everything Earl Spence could handle in that fight. Gave it up, and he did what he's supposed to. This dude didn't get this opponent didn't get around, but that opponent gives major respect for me. For this opponent, I don't know who this opponent is. He looks like a young guy. For him to step in here, take the Sean Porter fight. The thing they stated, and the other reason I respect this dude is that when they said his promoter was told they got a big fight, it'll be Sean Porter. This dude said, "Oh hell yeah, let's take it." Didn't complain about money. Didn't complain about the split. He went in there to fight this dude because he knows what Sean Porter is. To be a war in there with some of the best names. As career is done and he can speak as an old man, he can be like, I was in there with Sean Porter. Didn't work out his way, but being that you shared a ring with a guy like Sean Porter is something to hold his head high up on. The other thing is that this guy coming in here to be counted as an underdog, he could have went in here and laid down, took his check and went back to Germany. He didn't do none of that shit. This dude stood on all 10 toes, stood in there, took every heavy-ass shot from Sean Porter, and he fought like a true warrior. He didn't bow down. They would have to stop him. This dude probably would have died in that ring. So I salute him for that. But I definitely should salute Sean Porter for taking a fight like this serious. He showed a newer development in what he has. And this makes Sean Porter fucking dangerous out there. They added some shit to this dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said about his legs, he's got great movement. You know, he gets around. He does the in and out, side and side angles and everything. Probably better than anybody at the division at this time. And his conditioning is above average. It's like, you know, you could see that he can go hard for 12 rounds. But now that he has added the wrinkles of boxing technique, refined boxing technique to his repertoire, Sean is like on par with the rest. And I'll tell you, as he spoke in the pre-fight show, and that knockdown in the Spence fight was the difference in the fight. Had they not had that situation take place, it would have been hard pressed to say one way or the other who won that fight. And I know there are Earl Spence supporters out there that love him so much that they don't want to give anyone else credit when they are competitive. Sean was competing with him during that whole fight. They were both champions. And I had stated before the fight took place, I said, this fight is so good between these two guys. I said, Porter's going to surprise people. I said, why not have a rematch after this? Just like they're talking about a rematch between Povetkin and White. Even though White got slept, there's no need for a rematch on that. Nobody really wants to see that. But people would have loved to see a return bout between these two champions who fought so closely in a unification that the difference in the scoring could have been a flash knockdown where he wasn't even body on the canvas. His glove grazed the canvas. It wasn't even like he took a hard fall on his hand and supported himself. No, his hand, he got hit, he was wobbled, he was rocked, and his glove touched the canvas. My goodness. I hate that. And then the fact that everybody else is looking at it like, you know, the guy who was awarded the victory should just go on about it and just like go on and finish unifying and this and that. It's like, man, he gonna have to see that man again. And if he don't see that man again, shame on him. Because Sean earned that. He really did. As opposed to a lot of other things that have transpired in boxing. You know, I give a lot of respect to him for what he's done. And remember, people were calling him a football player, right? And saying that he was coming in there, hut. Remember, they was making those jokes about him and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he showed tonight, what he showed? Class. He was on top of that guy, beating the crap out of him and everything. And that dude looked, you know, early on, he did seem to have something, but Sean took it away from him right away. And he seemed to have reservations, but he had heart to keep going. But he knew at a certain point, he was like, I can't beat this dude. You could see it. in his face. But he fought on. He soldiered on. And that kid, if his confidence hasn't been disrupted by Sean in this fight, he could come back and make some noise in the division against other people, because that guy has some skills. It's just that Sean's style and what he brought never gave him a chance to really get on track. I actually gave him the first round. And that was only because it was a filling out round and Sean wasn't coming at him hard, and he landed some shots and he was moving and he was throwing shots. But then after round 2, Sean had turned it up on him already. And by round 3, it was really evident that what he was doing. So, and he basically whitewashed the guy. It's like he, won a unanimous decision going forward. But it'd be a shame if he don't get a chance to get another shot at one of those titles right away, because he deserves it. One of the few who deserves it in the sport.
Absolutely.
Jupiter B is out there. He says, salute Stormy B Man in the chat. Bottom of Cali is out there and says, what do you guys think of Fundora? And Derek Bailey is out there. He says, salute. And Bottom of Cali says they was calling him a linebacker boxer. Yeah, talking about Sean Porter. What did you think of Fundora, Reggie, as he was as it was asked in the chat there by Bottom of Cali?
I think people are kind of intrigued by the guy being so goddamn tall, and seeing the way he went in here against Gallimore, roughed the hell out of Gallimore, beat the hell out of Gallimore. But I think he's food for one of these other top tier guys. Depending on with him fighting that way, if he can take a punch, then maybe he can be somebody who's a sleeper out there, being with this height. But he's going to have to learn how to establish utilizing his height, moving around. He's going to have to fight more like Jamal James did against what's his name recently, against Delorme recently. That's how you're supposed to use height. This dude fighting on the inside, laying on people, he's bound to get hit with some shit on the inside and over the top. And plus, he doesn't use his height when he's even on the inside. He's leaning over, which almost brings him to being like he's 5'11" inside of a fight. So against Gallimore was intimidated by the guy. He didn't make any adjustments, couldn't get out the way. When I thought Gallimore was probably going to end up landing something, catching this guy, he didn't land nothing. He was afraid to get his punches off. But this dude being on it, fighting like that, his run is bound to stop. But I think he's more intriguing to people being that goddamn tall, like 6'6" at that weight class. But I can't call him as being able to compete against the Charlos, the Harrisons, or these other guys. I think they'll be able to work this dude. But that only time will tell. I don't want to count him out, but he got to change up. That's that thing that held Robert Easter back. So held Robert Easter up a lot, being a tall fighter fighting on the inside, trying to scrap. Same thing with Paul Williams. And this is a tall fighter doing that thing again because he hasn't developed the jab.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see him suffering the same fate that Paul Williams suffered against Maravella. When he got hit with that shot and he got slept. I see this guy running into the same type of situation because he fights with his hands low. He's thinking only offense, never minding defense. And it's wide open for that to happen to him. That's what I see in his future. Don't know who's going to do it to him, but somebody's going to do it to him. And I'm going to tell you why they're going to do it to him. Because he's not going to learn until that happens. He can talk till the cow come home about that, they're trying to get him to work on his distance and jabbing from the outside and this and that. How many fights he got? And how long he been doing what he doing? And he ain't changed and showed it yet. Didn't even show it tonight in the least bit. That's why it's going to happen to him. See? And that's the best lesson in life. Experience sometimes. huh? And that's what I see happening to him. So that's what I think about what's his name, Fundora. That's what I see. What's happening to him. Jupiter B says, I respect Porter, although I didn't think Spence versus Porter was as close as some think on second watch. Bottom McCallie said, Porter put that engine in a different gear for Spence. He did good. Andrew Charles says, I thought Formula was having an effective jab in round 2, but that was it. Bottom of Cali says, right after Gallimore beat Rosales, says, dude looked like a giant over Gallimore. And Bottom of Cali said, true definitions of styles make fights. And he also says he was hitting Gallimore with some mean uppercuts. Yeah. So, but that's it. Hey, man, you got anything else on this, Reggie? Or you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, that's all I got on that one, OG. Just man, what a goddamn night of damn boxing. All this boxing. This is the type of Saturdays I like. They made up for all that bullshit they've been putting out. This made up for it. These are some spectacular results tonight. I like what I seen in the later Alvarez. I'm glad he lost, and he's a fighter I like. I'm just true to the standards of boxing. I like the later Alvarez, but when you come in here and you give a half-ass champion, you let fame and money pull you away from the focus. Because when he won that second Kovalev fight, he could beat Kovalev. Gave that half-ass performance. It showed this dude he ain't meant to be a champion. Then he goes into that fight not too long ago, and he knocks out I can't think of the cat's name, but he knocked out this big heavy punching as a black fighter. He knocked him out, and then he goes in this fight, thought you'd get an effort. He did nothing. He looked like he fought Kovalev in this fight and got here and got his ass whooped. And I'm happy for Joe Smith. Joe Smith is a guy who was known for when he knocked Bernard Hopkins out the ropes. So he comes back in here and almost knocks later Alvarez out the ropes, and he just punished him. So I was happy to see this result, being a guy who came in here with a greater will than another guy who just came in there to be in the damn ring. The Dillian White Povetkin shit is like, that's a classic. That's the most classic shit I done seen in a long goddamn time. That shit is instant classic shit. Not the fact that Dillian White got knocked out, but the fact this guy touches the canvas twice. The fact that he's 40. The fact that this dude's was written off. I wrote him. I didn't think he was going to do much. I was hoping and praying he would have got the win the way he got it. But he got it in a more impressive fashion than I was hoping to get it in. And shit was brilliant, man. I'm impressed with tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What a night of boxing. Kind of like a day for us here in America, because we caught the Dillian White fight card in the early afternoon that just led us into this evening for tonight's fights. But it was great, and I really enjoyed it as well. I'm glad we got a chance to laugh, and that's what it's all about, coming together, enjoying this sport. And when it goes well, it goes well. And sometimes some people, are on the suffering end of things, but that's what boxing is, I just love it, and the fact that it's back, then we can do these post-fight shows again and whatnot like that. Because I was waiting for major fights to start happening, to start doing post-fights again, but had to jump in with this first one because a lot to talk about and a lot to laugh about, and we sure got our money's worth tonight. So I really enjoyed that, man, and I look forward to the fights that's coming up next weekend. PBC is going to be on a roll for the next foreseeable future with matchups that they got having. So a wonderful night of boxing. I want to salute everybody that was in the chat. People that's out there that was watching but didn't comment in the chat. Glad we got the new subscriber. Retro is out there, and I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. It was a great show, and we look forward to what's on the horizon. So, for my co-host on here, Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens, we're going to say peace out. Everybody enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll see you guys next time on the post-fight show. Peace.
Mm-hmm.